My best friend has been using pictures of me to catfish her long-distance boyfriend of 5 years. He was pissed when he learned the truth. My best friend Maggie and I met during our freshman year of college. We are now roommates and moved in together 2 years ago. In 2015, Maggie spent spring break a couple states away, and matched with a guy on Tinder. When she came back to campus she immediately told me about him. She bragged about how amazing he was and how they only went out to dinner once, but that they were talking 24/7. I got super excited for her since her dating life has been basically non-existent for a hot minute. I asked to see a picture of him and that's the only time I ever saw what he looked like. Over the past 5 years he's been her whole world. She talks about him constantly, always has her nose in her phone, and gets clingy when he takes too long to text back. There hasn't been a day where I haven't heard about this guy. Since he sends presents and flowers on Valentine's Day, I think they're practically dating. So I asked her why they never met up again, to which she said they're too busy and broke to make the trip. I suggest letting him stay with us but she refuses. I don't bring this up often because at the end of the day, it's one of my business. That was, until yesterday. Maggie had picked up a shift at work so I was home all day. I was just going to relax but then I got a knock on my door. I didn't know who that was since I wasn't expecting anybody, but when I opened the door, there was a guy standing there who I had never seen before. He gasped and looked all happy. He says hi and I say hi back, but I'm obviously very confused. He just looks very jittery and nervous at first. Then, he barged in and scooped me up into a hug. I just froze and didn't know how to react. He tells me, "I thought you were working? I was hoping your roommate was here so I could surprise you when you got back." I still have no idea who this guy is so I'm very confused and beg to be put down. I back away from him and tell him I don't know who he is. He laughs and says, "Come on Maggie, it's me." I let him know I'm not Maggie and I don't know why he would think that since we look nothing alike. It takes a minute for both our brains to process what's happening. He asks me, "If you're not Maggie, who are you?" I say, "I'm Summer, Maggie's roommate." Then something clicks and I ask if he's Adam. He gives me a very slow yes, like he's confused out of his mind as well. But then something in him clicked and he yells out "Holy F." He then proceeds to tell me for the past 5 years, he's thought he's been talking to me. Every picture he's ever seen of Maggie has actually been pictures of me. I'm completely dumbfounded and we don't know what to say to each other at first. So he gets out his phone and shows me proof. He has tons of pictures of me saved on his phone. He then went to their messages and showed me proof that she's been sending them to him. I felt and still feel completely sick to my stomach. I get out my phone and show him real pictures of her. I tell him maybe they could just talk when she gets off of work. He's really pissed at this point. I say maybe we should call her first and let her know he's here. So I do that and she starts flipping out, saying she's not coming home, tells him to leave and that she won't talk to him. He calls her and starts yelling at her over the phone. After everyone calms she eventually comes home. He's hurt and accusing, she's crying, and I'm sitting there awkwardly watching this go down. She tells him that she's still the same person he's had feelings for and he screams at her, "No, I thought I was in love with your roommate." And that completely makes her break down so I tell him maybe he should leave for the night and everyone should have their own space. He agrees and after he leaves she goes completely psychotic on me and starts throwing everything around the living room. She tells me she hates me, I start crying, it's a mess. I left to stay with a friend and haven't been back so I don't know what's gone down. I feel like I have no idea who the person I'm living with is and I feel weirdly violated. Do I move out? Do I try to call her? She hasn't even texted me. I ended up having a phone call with Adam, mostly because I wanted to know about the pictures she sent. Turns out she sent pics of me in my underwear, and naked pictures that aren't actually of me. Or her. So we're assuming she got those from Google. He feels really bad and is actually having a hard time with all of this. I assured him I don't blame him at all for the underwear pics, or anything like that. He ended up telling me that they actually have FaceTimed, but she would never show her face, only the top of her head/hair which is dyed a similar color to mine. Never thought anything of this. Now I think it might be really weird, and her excuse was she felt like she looked bad on video, was self-conscious, didn't have makeup on, etc. He said he didn't think it was weird. He also told me he's tried a ton of times to arrange visits to meet and she's came up with excuses every time. He said that he's been mostly content to talk through text/over the phone up until this point. He's going to try to reach out to her one more time to talk about everything but he's moving on. As for me, I'm not sure I can break my lease yet but I'm going to go ahead and move out and in with a friend until it's over. We briefly talked when I went to my apartment, and she sort of half apologized but is still pretty hostile and defensive so I'm going to give her space. I feel bad for her, but I don't think our friendship is going to survive this whole thing.